Will everyone please join me in Gassho? Shariputra, those persons who have already aspired, now aspire, or will aspire to be born in the land of Amida Buddha, all dwell in the stage of non-retrogression for attaining the supreme enlightenment. They have already been born, are now being born, or will be born in that land. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandats, namandats. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is enjoying their month of February. We are already in our second Sunday service of the month of February. Last week, we celebrated or commemorated our Nirvana Day / Pet Memorial Service, where we all remembered fondly our pets who have loved us over the years and who have since passed or who have recently passed, and we were and it was a good time for us to really take a moment to think about our pets and realize how much they've meant to us over the years, and actually what wonderful teachers they were, especially in terms of the Buddha Dharma. But we also took the day to commemorate the Buddha's passing into Pati or Mahapati Nirvana, the ultimate stage of enlightenment. And that is essentially when the Buddha passed away, when the Buddha no longer was in his mortal form. So this week, I would like to continue this discussion of nirvana. Nirvana, this is a very interesting word because I am certain many of you have heard this word being used many, many times, probably have even seen on some stores that have opened, or many of you are Nirvana fans. The famous Kurt Cobain named his band Nirvana for a little bit. And so I'm certain that people have heard this word being used many times in pop culture or in recent days. But let's talk about the word nirvana and like the actual concept in Buddhism. So what is nirvana? What exactly does nirvana mean? Well, literally translated, simply put, it means to blow out or to extinguish. Now you'll notice on the picture here, I have a picture of 2 lotus flowers or candles, right? And oftentimes the word nirvana is equated to the blowing out or the snuffing of the candle. When we think about the long-lasting candle that lasts for a long time and like it burns, and the candle is supposed to represent our bodily attachments or our worldly attachments, and it continues to burn on and on and on. And then when nirvana hits, or when we become enlightened, that candle is snuffed out or blown out. And that is our worldly attachments. We are no longer in a sense, attached to our worldly attachments. But then that begs the question, what does it mean to be unenlightened? If nirvana is enlightenment and we are free of our worldly attachments, what does it mean to be unenlightened? Well, another way that this is simply put is that it is where we are right now. We as human beings, we as people, we are unenlightened. We are still attached to this world of illusion and ego. And this picture I have is a picture of a very colorful and beautiful picture depicting samsara, or the cycle of birth and death. We never, as unenlightened beings, can escape this because we are constantly and forever entangled in this realm of birth and death and cycling through the 6 realms. And you see the terrifying figure up there is actually King Yama, who kind of determines where you go into the next realm. All this is not necessarily meant to be taken literally, but again, it is the existence of our suffering in this world, or the existence of our illusions and our clinging to our ego. So what does nirvana mean in the historical Buddhist case? Well, we also celebrate Bodhi Day in December, and that was when the Buddha became enlightened under the Bodhi tree. Yet was this the supreme nirvana? And this is a hard question to answer sometimes because the Buddha was said to have been enlightened under the Bodhi tree. So he was said to have severed all of his connections and attachments to this world of samsara. Yet, if we look at historical record, or if we look at history, the Buddha still retained a human form. And this was because this human form was necessary in order to teach us about the way to enlightenment. This human form was necessary for us to be able to relate to this ultimate Dharma, this ultimate awakening. So because of that, the Buddha still had human form and in a sense was still susceptible to, to the limitations of being in a human form, in a sense. But then there's the Buddha's passing into Mahapati Nirvana. And this is when the Buddha finally, after about 45 years of teaching, realized that his time on this earth was going to be over soon. And so if you remember from last weekend's YouTube service, our wonderful minister's assistant, Lynn Ray Hubble, read a passage from the Mahapati Nirvana Sutra, where the Buddha told his disciples that, yes, I am going to be leaving this world, but don't cling to my human body. Don't cling to my human form. It's the teachings that you must continue to study, the teachings that you must continue to pass on. If all you see of me is my body, then you really haven't gotten the concept of nirvana or the Dharma, the Buddha Dharma. Okay? This human form was necessary to be able to communicate the teachings to all of us. And then now that my life, my human form is passing, realize that the Dharma is supreme and that the Dharma is everlasting and goes beyond the human physical form. So this was one of the biggest teachings that the Buddha could have passed to us, because obviously couple of millenniums later, the Buddha is no longer physically with us. But then we also realize that the Buddha is also not just a human physical form. So what about nirvana for us? Are we able to achieve it? You'll notice I put a picture of all of a lot of the members here depicted from the temple cleanup. What a wonderful day that was. What about us as Buddhists? What about nirvana for us? Now, we all have heard the story about Shakyamuni Buddha and other monks possibly doing incredibly hard and difficult practices to attain the ultimate awakening, to attain ultimate enlightenment. And yet we as ordinary human beings who have day jobs, ordinary human beings who have responsibilities, who have bills to pay, who have obligations to fulfill, worldly obligations to fulfill. Are we able to attain nirvana? Are we able to achieve nirvana? Well, the answer is yes, but not by ourselves or by our own means. So you'll notice I have a picture of the Nembutsu here. And this is really, really, really important. Us as ordinary beings are also able to experience the benefit of ultimate awakening without necessarily shaving our heads and becoming monks and engaging in really, really hard, austere practices. Our path to enlightenment is the Nembutsu path when we say Namo Amida Butsu. So why is this? Well, the Buddha in the previous sutras could foresee a time in the future, thousands of years after his death, where we would need a path that would be easy to follow. And what I mean by this is that the Buddha is no longer here in physical form. So the Buddha realized that this, when that time comes, when there's thousands of years in the future, my words still need to remain. And that I need to make sure that there is a teaching and a practice out there that is easily done by those who take refuge in the Buddha Dharma, without necessarily having to sever our blind passions or to be able to commit to 20 years of hard practice and hard study. The Nembutsu is enlightened activity that we acknowledge with gratitude, that we acknowledge saying Namo Amida Butsu. The name itself is enlightenment at work. So this comes from the 3 Pure Land Sutras, where Bodhisattva Dharmakara, in the story that Shakyamuni Buddha tells us, that He underwent 10 kalpas of hard practice and achieved the ultimate awakening of nirvana, to achieve the ultimate awakening of becoming Amida Buddha, the Buddha of infinite light and life. And all we need to do is take refuge in saying the name of Namo Amida Butsu. And again, remember, this is not us saying Namo Amida Butsu in order to attain the ultimate awakening. It is the fact that we are guaranteed birth in the Pure Land. We are guaranteed to experience ultimate awakening after this present life. And because we are guaranteed this, that is why we say Namo Amida Butsu. The hard practice was done for us, and therefore we are able to engage in enlightened activity and to experience enlightened activity from Amida Buddha's wisdom and compassion. This is why we say Namo Amida Butsu. And this means that without severing our attachments and egos, we are still able to benefit from Amida Buddha's wisdom and compassion. The working continues and never ceases to guide us. We as humans often make errors. We often get caught up in our egos. We often think of only ourselves. We have moments where we become angry and upset because things don't go our way. I am certainly guilty of this. Being a Buddhist priest does not mean that I am any closer to the realm of enlightenment than the next person is. And this is really, really important. And because of this, because I am still an ordinary human being, I must rely solely on the Nembutsu path. And then this is where we attain nirvana. This is where at the end of the road, when we realize that we will become one with the realm of wisdom and compassion. And then we return to this world in various forms to guide others to the realm of wisdom and compassion. And so ultimately, the Dharma still continues to work for us, still continues to work for our benefit. We as ordinary human beings are susceptible to human error. But because of this, we take refuge in the 3 Pure Land Sutras and in the Nembutsu path. This is why we say Namo Amida Butsu when we come to the temple. And as a reminder, Namo Amida Butsu is not just for the temple. It's not just for in front of your Obutsudan. When the time comes that we are able to experience enlightened activity or in our daily lives, in our everyday life, and we have these aha moments where we have a realization that other power of the Dharma is working through us, that is when we say Namo Amida Butsu. When we realize that the Dharma continues to work continuously for our benefit and never ceases to stop. So I would like to thank you all very much for joining us today in our Sunday service. Please continue to stay healthy and to continue to practice some health measures. I do know, and I'm very happy to see that the cases are starting to go down a little bit, but this of course means that we must still continue to practice some safety measures in order to ensure that the numbers keep going down. But until that time, and until we are able to meet together in person once again, I sincerely hope all of you enjoy the sunnier days that are coming to us. There might be some rain, but enjoy the sunnier days that come to us, and really think about this time of change, right? This time of spring that's going to be just around the corner. This will be a theme in next month's set of Dharma talks is, what does it mean to go to the other shore? What does it mean? What do we mean when we say like the transferring from this world to the other world? So with that, I would like to thank you all for joining us once again. And in gratitude, please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.